The art of sampling has been around in music for decades as musicians and producers borrow and reinvent sounds from the past into new songs updated for the present.
It cost me a lot. It cost me a lot.
It cost me a lot.
Since then, it has become a cornerstone in modern music making. But how much do people actually sample? Is the art form still alive? What do they sample, and what are the most popular sampling techniques? We meticulously researched and dissected every entry onto the Billboard Hot 100 list to try and answer these questions and paint a better picture of what the state of sampling is today. For those who don't know, sampling is the act of taking a sound from an already existing piece of music and incorporating it into a new song, mixing and matching it to create something completely new. Let's start with the facts. Our research shows that 17% of all hit songs in 2022 sample from a previously released song. That's almost 1 out of every 5 hit songs. We've been doing the state of sampling research for the past 5 years, with some stats dating as far back as 2008, so we can add a little bit of context to this number. Some like to claim that sampling is dead, but sampling, in fact, is becoming even more popular, slowly increasing in popularity amongst producers each year for the past 3 years. It's apparent that sampling as a tool and art form is still fairly popular, but what are they actually sampling? We found that for the first time ever, the 2000s were the most popular decade to sample. This is something some of you might have seen coming, but it's official. If you want to make a hit record, you should sample something from the 2000s.
You go bow for the result, though. Nothing to discuss, cause I did win by default.
Hey boy, I came to party. Yo, black top, big t-shirt, Billy Eilish. Watch on my wrist, but I want that diamond. Niggas talk crazy when I pull up, it's so hard.
Deja vu, I've been upgraded from hell. I got a finger phone.
What's interesting is that in previous years, our research shows that producers tend to sample songs that were released around the time that they were growing up, sounds that sound nostalgic to them, which makes sense that the 2000s have risen in popularity when you consider that Gen Z's generation of producers, with their younger sense of what's nostalgic and attractive to sample, has made an entrance onto the charts, marking a real turning point in the sound of modern day music this year. When it comes to which genres top producers are sampling from, we also saw a big shift this year. 2022's most popular genre to sample from is R&B. Hip-hop has usually dominated this category. Not only has hip-hop been the genre that has sampled the most, but it is also the genre that top producers tend to sample from. This year, however, with the increase in popularity, R&B has taken over the top spot from hip-hop.
Every time I sip on codeine, I get vulnerable. Annoying the sounds of the storm when it comes.
I ain't got nothing.
Back to the basics, hop back in the matrix. Gator Maybach,
But it wasn't just R&B that producers enjoyed sampling from more than previous years. This year, many hits sample from dance music. So, sampling from old school house classics to modern day EDM hits. 2022 actually marks the highest number of samples from dance music we've ever seen in our research.
I've been blowing through the money like it growing trees. I've been fucking on a French bitch, c'est la vie.
Another one.
I like the wretchedest women. Go. Whoop, whoop, G6, let's get it. Whoop. Rich niggas coming down to the city.
Significant within the sampling space of 2022, Beyonce's Renaissance album. It's a celebration of 80s ballroom culture and the black queer roots of house music. This concept is executed down to the finest detail, most notably by collaborating with a wide range of black LGBTQ+ artists. Every sample and interpolation is a queer anthem or made by an LGBTQ+ artist. This takes sample selection to a whole new level. There are also some notable sampling trends developing this year. In September, Business Insider headlined how TikTok song remixes and mashups are changing music marketing. This is due to an evolving trend of songs borrowing so heavily from classic songs that the lines between remixes, remakes, and sampling are getting blurred, both in terms of sound, but also in terms of licensing. Of all the hits sampling from other songs this year, around 20% rely so heavily on the original, it's closing in on being a remake or a remix, as opposed to sampling from it. Now, this isn't something entirely new, but it has been increasing in popularity this year. Perhaps the TikTok era, with its fondness for revitalizing old songs and artists want to capitalize on the free momentum that comes with it, has affected the production space and the sampling techniques. Another huge development closely correlated with sampling that started picking up a lot of speed in 2021 and started gaining mainstream attraction in 2022 is sample drill.
How can I be homophobic? My bitch is gay.
Sample drill is an offspring of drill music, and as you can probably tell by its name, is deeply rooted in sampling, specifically using 90s and 2000s era hip-hop and R&B as its core building blocks.
Like who hotter? Top shotters, hoodied up, dread down like a roster.
For such a young genre, its popularity is already undeniable, with basically every major music news site like Complex, Pitchfork, Okayplayer reporting on its rapid growth. We can see the subgenre's interest has increased by 442% in the last 3 years. And on TikTok, it's definitely gained traction, with the hashtag having reached over 112 million views in just barely 2 years. All of these strong indicators that this is very likely the fastest growing subgenre in the world. Moving on to the next trend of 2022, and something that's been cooking up for a couple of years now, stems and multi-tracks are more important to sampling than ever. When a song is stripped to its core elements, like drums, bass, vocals, etc., those are called the stems of a song.
Yeah.
Lick it, I can ride it while you slipping and sliding.
A few years ago, you would have had to have access to the separate stems directly from the artist, but with recent advancements in technology, you're able to separate the stems yourself. With the release of groundbreaking software Serato Stems, Kanye West Stem Player, and technological advancements in online stem extractors, all of this indicates the growing importance of stems in modern day sampling, which can be clearly illustrated by looking at Google Trends, which have been increasing every year for the last 5 years by 800%. If you didn't know, 30% of the tracks on TrackLib are actually stems and multi-tracks that you can sample from, so you can pretty much find anything to sample, from a 70s soul acapella to 60s funk drums to a guitar solo from an 80s jazz record. We see the same trends developing with songs on TrackLib, with songs that have multi-tracks and stems being 9 times more likely to be sampled than songs without them. Now, in our opinion, you can't talk about the state of sampling without talking about TrackLib, since to be fair, it's the only online record store in the world where anyone can sample and clear samples affordably. So we believe progress for TrackLib is progress for sampling, and hopefully you guys agree. And we can happily say it's been quite a successful year for TrackLib, since thousands more sample heads choose us as their go-to source for sampling. Our beat player has gotten the nice additions of being able to pitch your loops and put drums on top of it for context. And we also had some big names choosing to use TrackLib to grab and clear their samples, such as Kendrick Lamar, Nas, Brockhampton, Kaytranada, Tisha, Mount Kimby, and many, many, many more. So whether you're into sampling or want to get into it, you can grab a free trial by visiting the link in the description. What do you guys think is the future of sampling? We're eager to know, so let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this sample, pun intended, then I'm happy to tell you there's much more to discover. Just head over to tracklib.com/stateofsampling to read the full piece. The link is in the description. There, you'll also find 8 sample breakdowns, breaking down the biggest samples of 2022. If you like this content, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to get more of it. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.